Hello, everyone, and welcome to Future Justice Talks. I'm 𝗔𝗕𝗢𝗓 Justice Valley. I'm a student at Rehan School Online Academy, and I love learning from inspiring leaders and sharing their journeys with our audience. Today, we have very special guest with us, Mya Bynoe. Maya is a management student at the University of Connecticut and serves as chief of staff and VC Analyst at Hillside Ventures, as well as an analyst with the UConn Opportunity Fund. She is she is a Girls Who Invest scholar and MLT Flu and recipient of the 𝐷𝗕𝗢𝐄 Award. Maya, it's really great to have you today. I apologize if I take any of the names, pronounce the names wrong. I sincerely apologize for that. So, Maya, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. And no worries about any of the pronunciations. It was all great.
Thank you so much. So, Maya, what inspired you to focus on finance and venture capital as a student?
Yeah, so I entered into UConn really with my management major just because I was interested in entrepreneurship. So I come from a family of immigrants. My family's from Puerto Rico. So I'm a third generation at this point in America. And so a lot of my family has had businesses such as fast food businesses, jewelry businesses, things of that nature. And so when I was in high school as a sophomore, what around your age actually, I started a jewelry business. I kind of got exposed to the entrepreneurial like society and community in Connecticut, and I found it really interesting. So I thought going in with a business major would be really interesting for me, and would give me the skills that I needed to succeed and really just feed into that passion. When I came into UConn, there were a lot more resources than I originally expected. I got involved in Opportunity Fund, which is a very intensive academic program where you basically learn about accounting, financial markets, finance, of course, and then you can make investments in your second semester in small cap equities. And I was in the infrastructure sector for that, and also industrials, which was added a little bit later on, but that's besides the point. And then I also got involved in venture capital through Hillside Ventures, where I'm now serving as chief of staff. You mentioned it's my third semester in that fund. And I've been in the sustainability vertical for all of it, focusing specifically on sustainable materials and infrastructure. And I would say I got into both of those because through UConn, I found that there are a lot of opportunities for investing, and investing is a very interesting way to get involved in your local entrepreneurial community as well. It's looking at it from a different lens, but it's still very interesting, and especially when doing infrastructure or sustainability like climate tech companies, you can meet a lot of innovative and very smart founders, and it's very interesting to see how those innovations can change the communities that they're working in for the better.
Wow, that's so amazing, Ma. I appreciate it. Moving to my next question, why is sustainable investing important to you?
I would say sustainable investing is important to me, or maybe I shouldn't say to me, but to the community that we're in, because it helps for new innovative technology to expand. Um, for example, there's a lot of markets where there are monopolies or oligopolies. It's very hard to replace certain technologies and legacy materials, specifically in infrastructure. But with investing into these sustainable companies, and sustainable materials, you can help to push materials to displace incumbent materials and technology so that it's better for the communities that you're in, better for the people, especially in a time where we are dealing with a lot of environmental changes and environmental pressures. I think that it's very important to continue on with sustainable investing or impact investing, as we call it.
Wow, that's so great, Ma. I really liked it. When evaluating a starter, what qualities stand out the most?
When we're looking at startups,
Yeah.
I would say that there are a lot of qualities that matter, specifically in the sustainability vertical for Hillside Ventures. I would say that, of course, the market matters a lot. You have to make sure that there's a market for the technology that you're trying to push. Management is also very important. You have to make sure that the people who are creating the product have a good background, are able to use their network to the best of their ability to be able to push that product. And then, of course, the financials are also very important. I would say that those are the three main things.
Yeah, it's so, these are amazing. So, Maya, you designed Hillside Ventures' first resonating website. What problems were you solving and how did you learn from it?
Yes. So in my second semester, I was the recruiting lead for Hillside Ventures. And I found that there was not a lot of automation or streamlining. What we would typically do is during the recruiting season, we would have each individual analyst reach out to potential candidates. But I found that that took away from a lot of our daily operations and our responsibilities as analysts, which is really to source and do due diligence on the companies. So I figured that a more streamlined and automated process would be helpful. So I created the recruiting website. The recruiting website was linked to everybody's Calendly. So what an applicant could do was go onto the recruiting website, find all the information for that recruiting season, and then navigate to the different verticals that they were interested in, and then pick somebody that they wanted to talk to.
So great of the website. Um, Maya, how have programs like Girls Who Invested and MLT shaped your confidence and career goals?
So both of those programs are pretty new. I joined right at the end of 2025 for both of them. So I'm still going through the processes. But I would say so far, both of them have been great in growing my confidence in teaching technical and soft skills. Through Girls Who Invest in particular, I've been taking a lot of Wall Street prep courses. So of course, those are technical courses such as Excel, financial statement modeling, accounting crash courses, things of that nature. And then both Girls Who Invest and Management Leadership for Tomorrow do a lot of resume and interview prep, which I think is very important, especially in the place that I'm in currently, where I'm looking for securing that internship out of college or my junior year internship which will ultimately help me get that out of college offer.
Wow, it's so amazing that your confidence is developing now, and you joined at the end of 2025, and yeah, that's so amazing. So, Maya, what has surprised you the most about working in a both corporate finance and venture capital?
I would say that what surprised me the most is that that's a good question. Um, I would say that what surprised me the most is that there is a lot of innovation in both the public and private sectors. I kind of went into it just thinking that in venture, of course, because these are startups, there's going to be a lot more innovation there. But when I was doing my diligence on some more of the public companies, there's also a lot of innovation that they are doing in the public companies to keep up with environmental standards, and of course ESG goals, although not on the same level of like the innovation, but they're still doing partnerships and they're still working towards that.
Wow, so amazing, Maya. So, how do you approach decision making when managing real investments with the Opportunity Fund?
We thought about it in terms of what we can understand, especially because we were working with companies in infrastructure and industrials. Some of these companies are really complicated, and they have a lot of moving parts to them. We did two pitches a semester, so that would really only give us about 7 weeks because the semester is 15 weeks long. So we thought about it in terms of what we could understand and what we could break down for our investment board as well. So for all of the investments that we make, we have an investment board that we go to. And so we didn't want any company that was too technical. So we thought about it in that standard, and also thinking about it in terms of what catalysts are going to occur coming up so that our investment thesis makes sense.
Wow, Maya, that's so amazing. So, Maya, you volunteer at an animal shelter. How does your community service contact at your leadership values?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
Yeah, sure. So I want to ask that you volunteer at an animal shelter. How does community service connect to your leadership values?
Oh yeah. So I volunteer at an animal shelter. It's a cat no kill shelter. I started doing that in 2025. But that's not really where my volunteerism started. I did an alternate break with UConn to Puerto Rico in 2024. And then I also, when I was in high school, served on an advisory board in which we basically decided which nonprofits in the community would get grants. I think that it helps with leadership because to volunteer is to really go out of your way and do something for the betterment of your community. And I think that that's a mindset that leaders should have, that it's not really what you have to do, but it's what you can do for the people and communities that you're leading or serving.
Amazing, Maya. So, when receiving startups, how do you decide which ideas will have long-term impact?
In startups or the nonprofits.
Yeah, in the startups.
I think it depends. It's a little hard with startups because they're so early stage, you can really only speculate. But I would definitely say that the ones that have long-term impact are usually the ones with early market validation. So pilots, things like early term contracts, partnerships with some bigger companies where they're able to take the product or service offered by the startup and use it early on and help them develop it.
Nice, Maya. So, what's one challenge you have faced in venture capital that most people actually don't see?
I think that a challenge that's in venture capital that a lot of people don't see, especially in the sustainability or climate tech space, is navigating the governmental risk of like governmental funding, regulations, things like that. It's just hard to gauge, especially with administrations being only four years per term. So that leads to a lot of change over time. So it can be really hard to predict certain things like that, especially with the constant shutdowns that we've been having in this administration as well. There's not really anything that you can do to mitigate that risk other than not look at companies that have a lot of government reliance, but it's still something that we're looking through, and it's something that these companies will always be at risk for.
Wow, so amazing. And Maya, you've traveled multiple countries and visited Machu Picchu. How does exploring the world influence your perspective on leadership?
I would say that exploring the world influences my perspective on leadership because the more countries that you go to, the more you're able to expand your mind. When you're sitting in one place dormant for too long, you kind of just get set in your ways almost. But when you explore other countries and you see what they've been doing and the types of lives that they live, you're able to open up your mind to more people that you can affect and outreach, the people that you can learn from. And I think, especially going to Peru for me, which was a study abroad that I did this past summer, I was able to see the entrepreneurial community over there and how they interact with their communities. And I found it to be a great learning experience for how we can incorporate history and culture into our everyday leadership decisions.
Hmm, amazing. So, Maya, what advice would you give to someone who wants to make a difference through finance and investments?
I would say that it's very important to leverage your network. So, such as what you're doing, talking to people who are already on that path, finding mentors is really important. And if you can, applying to some of the programs like Girls Who Invest or Management Leadership for Tomorrow or MLT is very important. I would also say that if you're looking to go to school, going to school that has experimental programs such as UConn has with the Opportunity Fund project or Hillside Ventures, that's also very important.
Hmm, amazing, Maya. So, how do you see sustainability shaping the future of venture capital?
I think that sustainability in venture capital is very important because it's new technology, but a recent trend that I've been seeing in venture capital is that a lot of funding goes to later and later rounds. So in venture capital, the funding starts with pre-seed, which is the earliest funding that you can get, and then it goes to seed, and then you have Series A, B, C, and then it goes down the line until you IPO or have your initial public offering. So meaning that you become a public company. A lot of companies are being funded into in later rounds because venture capital firms are not willing to tolerate the risk at earlier rounds, which means that for sustainability companies, you have to have, yes, the sustainability aspect, but also you need to have a cost advantage. A lot of premium products are going to be sustainability products, and having a cost advantage with sustainability is helpful for your funding round. And I think that that's what we're going to see a rise in going through venture capital in the coming years. That a lot of these successful sustainability companies are also going to be cost savings companies.
Hmm, amazing, Maya. Very interesting. So, Maya, what role does curiosity play in your decision making as a student and as also as an analyst?
I think that curiosity plays a really big role. They say that intellectual curiosity is one of the best things that you can have as a learner because it keeps you learning and it keeps you asking more questions, which in turn like turns the gears in your mind and to your development. I think that without curiosity, you can't really do well in any type of investments, or I guess I could honestly argue you couldn't do well in any type of professional career. I think that it's one of the most important traits that you can have.
Hmm, really good, Maya. So, how has been working with Hillside Ventures shaped your understanding of leadership in real world businesses?
I think that Hillside has helped me to understand real world businesses by giving me the opportunity to connect with founders. It's definitely helped me to realize that everybody is just a person at the end of the day. It's very easy to feel intimidated or scared to talk to somebody because, they're a founder of a company, they've innovated this new technology. They just have a lot of awards and a lot of accomplishments under their belts. But at the end of the day, everybody is a person, everybody still has feelings, and they're very often passionate about their businesses because of something personal that they've gone through. And so being able to connect with these founders on a one on one level, such as that, is very helpful to understanding that in business and leadership, these people are just people and you can connect with them as such.
Yeah, so great, Maya. So, what lessons have you learned from mistakes or failures during your career so far?
I would say that the biggest lesson that I've learned is that it's okay to say that you're not sure. I think often we always feel as if we need to have the answers, but in reality, it's a lot more respectful and a lot more admirable if you're able to just say, I'm not sure about that, and I can get back to you.
That's great thing. I also want to learn this. So, Maya, what inspired you to take one roles like community outreach lead while focusing on finance?
I was I was interested in the outreach role because of my experience in volunteering. I really think that it's important to stay in connection with the local community, and that by doing that, you create pathways for students who would not originally be interested in finance to find their way into a fund such as the Opportunity Fund project or Hillside Ventures, so that they can understand that these places and these spaces are meant for them and that they can be accepted there. I it's really easy for us to just go on to something that our parents understand, such as healthcare or being in something that is easily understandable. And I feel like finance is not always easily understandable. So creating those pathways early on is really important.
Mm, really good, Maya. So, Maya, how do global experiences what is one innovative idea you have seen in venture capital that excites you the most?
What is one what idea?
What is the one innovative idea you have seen in venture capital that excites you the most?
Recently, I've been working on recently I've been doing research on carbon nanotubes. Carbon nanotubes are a very interesting technology. It can also be referred to as the holy grail of material science. And it's basically just creating a string of carbon and then you're able to make a physical material with them. I think that that's really cool because it enables circular platforms in these materials. And it's also just more sustainable because you can get carbon from things such as natural gas or methane, which creates a fully circular platform material at the beginning as well as the end of this material's lifespan.
Mhm. Great. I also like this innovative idea. So, Mia, how do you balance long-term vision with immediate results in your projects?
I would say that creating the long-term vision is important to begin with, especially when I'm creating these investment memos or doing the presentations for the investments. I kind of think about what I want the audience to take away from it. And then I create a bullet point list of like what steps I need to do to fulfill that vision. And I would say that even outside of the investment memos, that's pretty much how I go about dealing with all of the long-term projects that I work on.
Great. Wow. Yeah. So, what lessons have you learned from managing multiple high-level responsibilities as a student and analyst?
I've learned that time management is very important. Everybody does this in different ways, but I personally really utilize my calendar and also the reminders app on my phone. Um, Without time management, it's really hard to get anything done, and you have to be very, very diligent and disciplined with yourself.
Mm, yeah, that's great. So, Mia, moving to our last question, looking at your journey so far, what is the one piece of advice you would give to the future leaders who wants to make an impact in the fian- uh, finance, finance and beyond?
I would say that my one piece of advice to people who are interested in making an impact in finance and beyond is to never doubt the spaces in which you end up. I think that it's really easy to think that you don't know enough or that you're not qualified to be in some of the rooms that you might end up in, but you're in that room for a reason and you should never doubt that or yourself and your capabilities.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you so much, Mia, for sharing your experience and wisdom with us today. Your work in finance, venture capital, and sustainability is actually truly inspiring. And it's amazing to see how curiosity and dedication shape your path. To our audience, make sure to follow Mia and learn from her journey as she continues to make a difference. It has been honored to have you on Future Justice Talks, man. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you again. Take care.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me.